Eugene the Fit. Check out my website, eugenethefit.com. See the daily tips, get you a program. Follow me at Eugene the Fit. Let's get it. Hmm, hmm. I lost my girl, and no one's standing next to me. Her love with you is where I'd rather be. I ain't worth nothing. Just toss me out into the sea. You're in love. Don't you dare sing along with me. Whoa. Cardio. Short for cardiovascular. This is a form of exercise geared around strengthening the heart. Also good for general health, losing body fat, and in addition, improving stamina. Now, even if your goal is only to build muscle, having good stamina is important for you as well, because if you don't, you will not last through your weight training sessions. You'll get to that fourth set of the bench press and you'll be sucking air, and you won't be able to lift as you would if you had better stamina. So cardio is for you as well. Low intensity steady state cardio. This type of cardio is centered around you using your slow twitch muscle fibers for any type of long distance training. So that can be walks, distance running, could be using the Stairmaster, any type of machine-based cardio equipment like the elliptical, the lateral, cycling, the recumbent bicycle. These are all forms of low-intensity steady-state cardio where you're just doing repetitive motions over and over, and you're not getting your heart rate too high, not letting it get too low to make sure it's effective, but you're working the heart and you're improving your condition, because in addition to being able to get through your whole weight training session, having better condition puts you in a state to where your body can burn more fat even when you're not exercising. I repeat, the better conditioned you are, the more fat you'll burn even while you're sitting on the couch like this. So, you want your stamina up for all these reasons.
With no answer, cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, makes you want to stay up for days. Maybe at home, things are wrong. I mean, I really, it was bad all along before you left. Adds up to a bold power. Thoughts of miles and miles an hour. This is always more. You'll pull that thing out unless you plan to bang bombs over Baghdad.
So reasons to include low intensity steady state in your life are because, for one, you use almost exclusively fat for fuel when you're doing these sessions. The more trained you become, the more efficient you become at doing that. When you do so, you don't tap so much into your glycogen stores, which are highly important, especially when you're cutting. When you're cutting, you're going to have a plethora of low carb days. So every ounce of glycogen that you have in your body is important for your weight training sessions when you're cutting. So if you can leave those alone when you're doing cardio, it's going to help you along the way in your course to maintain as much muscle as possible during the cut. In addition, it's low impact. And when it's low impact, and it's easier on your joints if you have any kind of joint trouble, especially doing a lot of cardio if you want to drop some body fat, if that's the course you're on. On top of that, low intensity steady state is good because it's not so taxing on your CNS, which is your central nervous system. It's responsible for many of your brain functions as well as physical activity, and it has so many of these responsibilities that it can get taxed by the amount of training you do, especially weight training. Now, high intensity cardio is going to add to this amount of taxation, and then it'll put you on a course to reach overtraining a lot faster than if you were doing low intensity steady state cardio. So that's a big factor to take into account on how many sessions you do that are low intensity as opposed to high intensity, whether you're bulking, cutting, or maintaining. These are all part of the whole equation. Some cons of low intensity steady state would be it's not going to raise the ceiling on your athletic performance. So it won't make you run faster. It's not going to increase your vertical. All these athletic, explosive type of movements, they're not going to see improvement from you doing low intensity cardio. Your ability to do them longer will improve, but not necessarily in singularity. In addition, most of the calories you burn are going to be during that session. So once you step off the treadmill or discontinue whatever activity you choose for your low intensity cardio, you're pretty much done burning calories at that point. This is in opposition to high intensity cardio, where you're still burning calories up to 2 days later. This is all due to what's called EPOC. It's an acronym that means excess post exercise oxygen consumption. This has you burning calories days later after doing high intensity cardio. But again, this is what makes high intensity cardio more taxing on your CNS and low intensity cardio less taxing. So, if you just want to burn as many calories as possible and even maintaining muscle isn't a big deal to you, although I advise against it, then that can weigh your decision on your balance of how much you do that's low intensity and how much you do is high intensity. But also, if performance is a thing for you, then you're going to have to include some high intensity cardio, like if you're a football player or whatever the case. On to times to do steady state cardio. I'll go in order of a day. So first option would be when you wake up and you're fasted. I'm against that because I'm a muscle hoarder. When you exercise first thing, there's a positive, which is you're more likely to use fat for fuel. There's no food on your stomach. Your body has to reach somewhere. But your body can also reach for your muscle. There's no food on you. So that's why I stay away from that. But it is effective for burning fat. So if you're weighing the pros and cons and you are down with possibly risking a little muscle, then have at it. But I'm a hoarder. Next will be pre-workout, like before you lift. You want to start out with some cardio. I also advise against that because when you do cardio before you lift, you're using up a lot of energy, which is going to take away from your weightlifting intensity. Your weightlifting should always take priority to your cardio because your weightlifting is going to burn more calories long term, help you lose body fat more long term, or maintain your physique with less body fat. Because you're building muscle with that. When you build muscle, your metabolism goes up because it takes more energy for your body to maintain that muscle. So you're burning more calories, which makes weight training more effective than cardio for losing weight. In addition, it makes your cardio sessions more effective if you do it after you lift, because lifting weights takes down some of your glycogen stores, which means your body has nothing left but to use fat for fuel. However, as with the fasted cardio, your body's more likely to use muscle as well, especially if you're having long weight training sessions before your cardio. So weigh the pros and cons before you make that decision. The last option is the one I normally go with is I'll do my cardio on the opposite end of the day. So I usually lift in the morning, so I do cardio in the evening. And if it's low intensity, it's usually after a low carb meal. And that's how I have at it. Try to burn solely fat. I'm pretty trained, so my body's good at adapting to it. Well, Eugene, how do you do low intensity steady state cardio? Glad you asked. To conduct low intensity steady state cardio the way I recommend, you're going to follow the carving-in formula. To complete this formula, you're going to have to know your age as well as your resting heart rate. If you don't know your resting heart rate, all you need is 60 seconds and 2 fingers. So just take the time when you're fully relaxed, set a timer, and just count up. However many beats you get within 60 seconds, that's your resting heart rate. Plug it in, you'll figure out your percentages. I want you between 50 and 70% of your maximum heart rate to more efficiently burn fat during your low intensity session. Now, to do so, I say you just check them out. Like if you're on some machine-based cardio, you can grab handles, see where your heart rate is every 2 minutes or so. You should fall within this range between 2 and 5 minutes after starting your cardio session. But if you don't have access to this technology, you have to use perceived exertion. How that works is, all right, let's say you're going along and all right, you got the music on this time, and you can rap along or sing along to all your lyrics, and you can do so with no problem, get all the words out. It means you gotta take it up a tad. So you're going a little faster, a little faster. As you saw my subject earlier, you wasn't so good at following these directions, but you take it up a tad, you can still get the lyrics out, but it's a little bit difficult. Then you're in the right range. Now if you reach a point where you just out of breath, you can't get any of the words out, your heart rate's too high, and you're going into the high intensity zone. So that's a way to monitor. It's called perceived exertion. Your session should last anywhere between 15 and 60 minutes for steady state. As you progress along, you'll see it's more difficult for you to reach your target heart rate. So let's say your goal is 125, and during your first week, you can get there on the treadmill just at speed 3.0. By week 17, you might have to go to speed 5.0 just to hit 125. That's just an example of how your body works as it becomes more conditioned.
Throwing up the deuce and giving that. Man on the slab. Throwing up the deuce and giving. Side acting bad on the slab. South side, yeah, the south side, everybody.
So to recap, cardio is important. It's working the heart. Even if you pledge allegiance to the muscle and nothing else, you still need cardio. Low intensity, steady state cardio is low impact, easier on your CNS, but it will not raise the ceiling on your athletic performance. When to do it, I suggest the opposite end of the day to your weight training session. But for you, it could be post-workout, it could be fasted. It's based on your priorities. The way to do it is abide by the Carvener formula. You want to check your heart rate every 2 minutes or go by perceived exertion. Try to stay between the 50 and 70% range. That way you'll optimize the fat loss, keep your CNS in check, and you'll get the job done. So, if you found the video helpful, hit like, subscribe to my channel, follow me at Eugene the Fit. Go to my website, eugenethefit.com, see the daily tips, get you a program. Need help with your fat loss? Try my program, Able to Cut. But if you want something more hands-on, get one of my online training programs, Able to Coach. Now, like we always do at this time, be great.